Hey guys, Isabel here, and today we're going to be talking about some digestive issues, specifically acid reflux, IBS, and maybe some other digestive issues that you might be having. I was just sharing, I'm sharing on Instagram on my phone here if you see me look this way, and I'm also on Facebook, obviously. So several weeks ago, I shared my own health journey and that I was having some digestive issues. And so many of you reached out to me and were like, oh my goodness, I've had the same thing happened or something similar happened, or I have been dealing with acid reflux for so many years, or I have been dealing with IBS. And so I just felt like it was really important, not only that I share some of the things that I have done that have been really helpful, but also just give you somewhere to start for your own healing. The first thing I'm going to start by saying is that if you have been told that this is just something that you have to deal with and something you have, I'm going to be maybe the first person to tell you that that is not true. You can heal your body. And the Lord made our bodies so perfect because the Lord is perfect. And our bodies are designed to heal. Now, you might need some tools in order to help your body heal. But if you're currently dealing with acid reflux and have been dealing with it for years on end, it doesn't mean that, oh, I just have acid reflux and I have to deal with it forever, or I have IBS and I have to deal with it forever. That is not the case. And I'm just really, really praying that something I share in this video today will either give you some encouragement, will give you some relief, and will help you on your own journey. So I see a lot of people jumping on. Hey, everyone, I'm just looking over here because I have Instagram going here and I have Facebook going here. Okay. Facebook just has such a way of changing everything all the time. So it tells me that I have 4 comments, but I can't see those comments. So, all right, I'll just try and figure this out as we go along. All right, so let's talk about acid reflux. Now, the only time in my life that I had experienced acid reflux was when I was pregnant with my second Marcos. And it was manageable. It was annoying, but it was manageable. And I knew that it was just a result of being pregnant and I was carrying kind of high and, I stayed away from certain foods and that was okay. But this December, and I shared this in a previous video, and that video is on our Facebook page, it's on our Instagram page, that I started suffering from what felt like debilitating acid reflux, and I could barely eat. I had severe stomach pains. Anything that I ate, even the very healthy food that I eat all of the time, would cause just severe burning in my esophagus, in my stomach. Unfortunately, I lost a lot of weight during that time because I could barely eat. It was just a really challenging time, and I've already shared that story, so we're not going to go into it. Now, I went to the GI doctor, a regular conventional doctor, and the first thing that they did is they put me on omeprazole. Now, if you don't know what omeprazole is, it is prescription Prilosec, and it's a proton pump inhibitor, a PPI. And this is one of the most common, most popular drugs that are recommended today. And I guess I didn't really realize that until I was on a PPI, and everybody and a lot of people that I know were like, oh yeah, I've been on that for years. Or, oh yeah, my husband's been on that for 15 years. Even my sister was like, oh yeah, I've been on that for, almost, 2.5 years now. I was like, oh my goodness. So that led me into researching proton pump inhibitors, exactly what they do, and whether or not they're effective. So if you have acid reflux currently and you're on something like omeprazole, or you're taking Prilosec very often, which is different than an H2 blocker, and we can talk about those. Basically, you can use those medications, you can use the PPI as a tool in order to heal and get better. But those medications were not designed for long-term use. So if you need to use a PPI, a proton pump inhibitor, for 3 to 6 months, maybe even up to a year, so that you can heal what's going on in your body, you can use it as a tool during your healing. But many doctors will just prescribe it and then leave you on it for years and years and years. And there can be a lot of side effects for women. Osteoporosis is one. Decreased absorption of B12 and magnesium. It also puts you at higher risk for infections because your body is designed to produce stomach acid for a reason. It's just not designed to go up into your esophagus. So if you're currently on a PPI, you want to do certain things in order to try and get off of it. And we're going to talk about that today. So, again, I'm not saying that don't take the medication, just stop taking it. Use it as a tool. Now, many times, people have structural issues that need to be fixed and looked at, like they might have a hiatal hernia, they might have something wrong with their esophagus. So the first thing that I am going to suggest is that you do get an endoscopy, that you go to the doctor and you get an endoscopy so that you know if there's something structural or there's something going on that needs to be taken care of. And even if there is, that can also heal. The other thing you want them to test for is something called H. pylori. Now, H. pylori can be tested when you get your endoscopy. H. pylori can be tested in a stool test, and H. pylori can be tested in a breath test. I've been tested for H. pylori now 3 times, and it came back negative. But if you have H. pylori, that is one of the most common reasons people have reflux, and sometimes they never even find out or they never even realize. So make sure that you ask the doctor to test you for H. pylori. Now, if you Google acid reflux, there are all of these videos and all these suggestions that you should use apple cider vinegar and use ginger and drink lemon juice and water. And all of those will work if your stomach and your esophagus is not very, very irritated. And if the reason for your acid reflux is low stomach acid, which is very, very common. The problem with these suggestions is that many times your stomach and your esophagus is so irritated that you absolutely cannot use apple cider vinegar, even though I am a huge fan of apple cider vinegar. So I think it's a great way to enhance your digestion. It is great for your metabolism. It's great for your skin. It's just has so many healing properties. But unfortunately, if you are one of the many people who is suffering from acid reflux and you have burning in your esophagus and your stomach, you might not be able to tolerate acid reflux. In the same way, you definitely will need digestive enzymes if you are on a proton pump inhibitor. But if your stomach is irritated, you might not be able to tolerate that. So I want to share with you, and specifically right now, I'm talking about reflux. I'm talking about acid reflux, and we're going to talk about IBS here in a second. But the 2 things that I started doing that really helped me to heal my esophagus and my stomach were these 2 herbs specifically. The first one is slippery elm bark. So I'm showing Instagram first. Slippery elm bark. And this is so soothing to your entire intestinal tract, starting from the esophagus to the stomach, all the way down to your large intestine. And this really, I could feel right away when I would take 2 capsules first thing in the morning that it would just soothe the burning, and it just felt so good. And I have been taking it consistently. I'm going to talk about this again when we talk about IBS, because it's also really good for those people who are constipated and very gassy. It's very, very effective. So this slippery elm bark is from Nature's Way, and it's just the recommended amount is 4 capsules, but my Instagram connection just went off. Okay, so the recommended amount is 4 capsules, but I just take 2 in the morning, and that's more than enough. Because if you take too many, then you might end up going to the bathroom too many times. So again, the recommended amount on this particular one is 4 capsules, but I take 2 in the morning with water. This is the first thing I do after I brush my teeth in the morning. And then I wait an hour before I take anything else. So I take 2 of these in the morning. You might want to start with 1 and then slowly work your way up, because 4 might just cause you to be in the bathroom a little bit too much. All right, the next one that I used was DGL powder. And this is basically a deglycerinated licorice. So licorice can many times raise your blood pressure, but because it is deglycerinated, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, it will not elevate your blood pressure. It is going to soothe the digestive tract without elevating blood pressure. So this is the one I have, and it's actually a powder. And all I do is I take you can see that I'm almost done with it. Oh goodness, I better order more. I take 1/8 of a teaspoon of it, that little bit, and I put it in my mouth. Then and it tastes like licorice. And then I just kind of like work it in my mouth, and it's so soothing going down. And this is really recommended for anyone who has any type of like gastritis and stomach issues. But these two things together, after doing them for about a month's time, I was significantly better, to the point where I was able to eat more food, and I was also able to start taking my digestive enzymes again, and they didn't burn. So I think my stomach was just very, very, very irritated, and these two things helped a lot. So if you're currently suffering from acid reflux, again, get an endoscopy, get some answers. But these two things, I don't believe they will harm you, although, of course, everybody's body is different. They are just natural soothing herbs, and they are very, very helpful. So now you might be wondering, like, okay, well, Isabel, you're a healthy eater. Like, what happened? Why do you have acid reflux when all the food that you eat is very healthy? Well, I went on a mission to figure out what was going on in my body, and I now know it is because of a bacterial infection that I have in my small intestine and my large intestine. How did I get a bacterial infection? Well, I don't know for sure, but I would guess that it has something to do with the infection that I had in my mouth in a tooth that no one found, and I went on a mission to figure out what was going on there. But it was there untreated for 2 years. It literally took me 2 years for someone to find the answer. Once I did, I had surgery over the summer. I got it taken out. But when you have a bacterial infection in your mouth for that long, then it can go to other areas of your body. And I think that that's what happened with me. I don't know that for sure. I might have ingested something. I do remember after we went on a trip to Tennessee, I came back and my stomach was really off for like a month. I may have gotten some like food poisoning at that time. I don't know. But the way I found that out was not by my regular doctor, but by a naturopathic doctor that I'm working with, and I will share all of his information. And I'm going to show you exactly the test that I did and what it showed. So I did a comprehensive stool analysis, and there's this version of the test, and then there's also something called a GI map. Now, we're going to talk about IBS here in a second, but for anyone that is having digestive issues, I urge you, I really encourage you to find a naturopathic, natural functional doctor who will do these tests for you and will show you exactly what's going on in your body. Because what you'll see here is this is all the good bacteria in my intestines, which is great news, and probably due to the fact that I eat very healthy and I put good things in my body. These are like the kind of not really doing anything great, not doing anything bad bacteria in my small intestine. And these are the two that are causing all the issues, okay? And once you know this, it's actually such a relief because it's like, okay, we can tackle this. I also got something called a GI map test done, and it showed the exact same thing. So it's very consistent. It's like you have some bacteria in your small intestine and your large intestine that's not supposed to be there, and we need to get rid of it. Now, the reason why I really, really like this comprehensive, it's by Doctor's Data, is that it will actually show you what natural herbs will help you to get rid of the bacteria that you have. So if you see here, and I know it's not going to be really clear, for me, caprylic acid, uva ursi, grapeseed extract, and silver will actually kill my little buggers and get them out of my system. If I wanted to do it with antibiotics, I could do it with these antibiotics. or this one, right? And it's not important that you actually be able to read what's on here, but basically that you see, just once you figure out what's wrong, that there is a simple solution. You proceed with the treatment with the herbs, whatever, it is recommended for you, and you will be able to digest normally. It's just a matter of really digging in and finding the answers for you. And for me, the regular conventional doctor basically did an endoscopy, a colonoscopy, told me everything was okay, told me to take some psyllium husk every single day, some fiber, and maybe eventually I'd get off the omeprazole, sent me on my way. That was it. That is all she said. And I don't have H. pylori. And when I asked her about small intestinal bacterial overgrowth, she's like, no, I don't really think you have that. I think you're fine. And that was it. And I think that happens to a lot of people, and then they don't get any answers, and then they're on their PPI forever and ever and ever. So the doctor that I'm working with is a guy by the name of Dr. Stephen Cabral, and you spell his last name, it's Stephen with a PH, and it's Cabral, Cabral. And he owns a company called Equilife. You can order all the tests and do the tests at home. The only thing that I will say is that it's not covered by insurance. And unfortunately, it is very pricey and it is expensive. I hate that. It breaks my heart because many people need answers, and it's very difficult to shell out hundreds of dollars in order to get tests that you would think your doctor should be able to do. But anyway, let's just praise God for answers. So again, his name is Dr. Stephen Cabral. You can look him up. So far working with his team has been outstanding, absolutely outstanding. Now I'm just going to start the bacterial protocol next week. I just ordered all of my supplements, so I don't have anything to say about the protocol right now, but what I can say is that just working with him and his team has been absolutely outstanding. So I would definitely recommend them up to this point. The other thing that I got done was something called an organic acids test, which basically showed me all of my nutrient markers. And it showed me how well my liver was working, what vitamins were low, what vitamins were high. And for me, my B vitamins, and it's like lots of pages of just everything that's going on in my body, which is so interesting and so great. But for me, my B vitamins were low, and that is very, very common for people who have bacterial infections. So as soon as I started on a B complex, and my amino acids were also low, again, because my body wasn't really absorbing well, I felt like just instantly so much better. I felt like someone turned the lights on in my body. I just felt so much better. Now, if you can only choose one test, what's really great about Dr. Stephen Cabral's team is that you can do a consultation first, and they'll tell you, okay, here's what you should order. Here are the tests that you should order. The other thing I did, which I don't have a copy of, but I did a food intolerance test because many people have reflux because they have food intolerances. I really didn't have many food intolerances at all. I have to stay away from dairy because that's the only one that showed up, but I actually haven't had dairy in years because I know that I just don't do well with dairy. Like my skin breaks out, I get stomach aches, I get gassy, and that actually did show up on my test, and I was like, it doesn't matter, I don't eat dairy anyway. So that was the other one I did. Okay. So I know that it's a lot of information to take in, but I think my goal with this video, and we're going to talk about IBS here in a second, my goal with this video was just to show you that there are answers out there. You have the ability to find out what's going on. You just really have to find the right doctors and medical professionals to help you. Okay, so the other thing that my regular conventional doctor did was I did get a colonoscopy because she wanted to see if there was anything going on in my large intestine because, I was really, really sick and I was alternating loose stool and constipation during that time. But again, I'm not surprised because of all this bacteria that was, in my, that it still is in my small intestine and large intestine and doesn't need to be there. So anyway, everything was great. After the colonoscopy, she said, your intestines look fabulous. I'm like, great. Wonderful news. And now I don't have to get a colonoscopy for another 10 years. So many times people are just given this blanket diagnosis of IBS, and IBS does not mean anything. It is not enough of a diagnosis. Your bowels are irritated, irregular, irritable, like all of the words, because there's something else going on. So when people say to me like, oh, well, my doctor just told me I have irritable bowel, I'm like, your bowels are irritable because of something. They don't just become irritable. There is something going on in there. So if you are currently suffering from digestive issues, troubleshooting, loose stool and constipation, and I can't eat this and I, can't eat that. There might be some things that maybe you can't eat, but there are some people who they're like, can't even have vegetables, can't even have fruits because they have such significant digestive issues that they can't eat healthy foods. And your body is designed to be able to eat most foods. I mean, like all healthy foods you should be able to eat, or they have to be really, really careful with how much fiber they take in. And your bowels are irritable for a reason. So if that is the case, I would highly, highly encourage you to get one of these tests, like a GI map test or the doctor's data. It's a 3-day stool test, any of those, to really figure out what the reason is. Now, in the meantime, you're going to be waiting for the test to come to your house. You're going to be waiting for the results to come in. You're going to be waiting for, the time it takes to make the appointment with the naturopathic doctor or the functional medical doctor. And trust me, I understand. The Lord has taught me so much patience during this time. I mean, I got sick in December. It is now April when I'm filming this, and I'm just now starting my protocol, but that's how long it took me to get answers, and that's how long it took me to get this well. And some of the things I did was, again, the DGL and the slippery elm, which I already shared. But what I have done during this time is I'm actually following a low FODMAP diet. Now, FODMAP stands for a bunch of long words that I'm not going to pronounce. But basically, there are certain vegetables that will irritate your gut more than others if you have some bacterial overgrowth in your small intestine and large intestine. So we can do a completely separate video about low FODMAPs, but you are not supposed to eat low FODMAP forever, nor do I intend on eating low FODMAP forever, but that has helped me to troubleshoot many of my symptoms and get me feeling to where I am right now. So if you're on the New Life Promise Plan, we have so many videos and documents on substitutions and how you can substitute certain foods. And we have that in the units section, which is now called the guides section. So if you need to replace some vegetables, you can. But again, FODMAPs are not supposed to be avoided long term. These are all just tools to help you to get better. A healthy body should be able to eat most vegetables, most foods, most fruits, most grains. You guys know that I'm not against having grains, and you should not for the rest of your life be like, oh, are my bowels going to act up? Or can I go to that party? Can I not go to this? Can I eat this? Can I eat that? There is an answer to your healing. And I know there's an answer to my healing. I know the Lord can put his hand on my body and heal it. And I am so grateful to him for bringing these answers. So if you are currently suffering from reflux, from IBS, from any digestive issues, you can go ahead and post your comments or your questions rather in the comments section, and I will take a look at those. I just really, really encourage you to not just take your diagnosis as a diagnosis for life. That was really my goal with this video, is to encourage you and let you know that your answers do exist. They just might not exist in regular conventional medicine. Now, that is not to knock conventional medicine, because let's be grateful to God for skilled physicians who know how to do endoscopies and colonoscopies and can give you medications like PPIs, to temporarily use as a tool to help you to get better. Again, I know I keep emphasizing temporarily because these things can be used as tools. The same thing if you are currently on any medication, for anything in whether that's cholesterol, blood pressure, your body can regulate those things normally, and you can use medications as a tool as you continue to get better. Okay. So I hope and pray that this was helpful. I really, really encourage you to continue to be your own health advocate, to look for your own answers. And if there's any way that I can help you do that, just please put your questions in the comment section, and myself and my team, we will monitor them, and we are here to help you in any way that we can. If there are other digestive issues that you're currently suffering from and you want me to do videos on those, let me know that as well. Okay, so I'm praying for your own healing journey, because the Lord, He is good. He is good, and He designed our bodies perfectly to heal. So your healing is possible. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please click here to watch more videos that will help you live a peaceful and healthy life. You may also want to subscribe so you don't miss any new videos. I upload new videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, so be sure to turn on the notification bell so you're notified when I post something new. If you want to learn more about how to live the best, healthiest, and most fulfilling life available to you, go to IsabelDPrice.com today. I'll see you soon.